Rise and shine, Mr. Meat for. Rise and shine. I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is less deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until, well, let's just say your 30 minutes has come again. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Meat for. Wake up and smell the update.
Let's get this over with. Wynncraft 2.0, an update so unreal it broke player records, shattered expectations in many ways, and have left us feeling very good, honestly. Not me though, I fucking hated this update when it came out. Hell, I quit publicly on Twitter, but you know, I live by the philosophy, never let them know your next move. Now, I'm more calmed down and level-headed. You know, we don't want another accident. But now that I feel ready to do things, this video can begin. Before I get into the meat of this update, let's start with some build changes that happened this update. First of all, Nasak got reworked once again, as well as the regular Ice Barrow's entrance. This town feels like it gets a rework almost every second update, but it's so fine. I want the CT to make the best game possible, even though old Nasak really didn't look as outdated and weren't as bad either as the next town on the list. Tezet got an overhaul and now looks way more like a mining city rather than a very closed-off fort. Very well made, although the tagline "smallest city in Gavel" is up to the air now. The quests around it also give a lot more lore to the city, which grounds it more in the universe than before. Lore is always appreciated, although some lore comes at a cost, such as... As much as I would like to admit that old Candon Beta was a bit of a mess, the rework did not really do justice to it, at least in terms of looks. Especially since the lore regarding it was changed entirely. Instead of just another city, it's a military base. Now I can't really expect much from a military base, but flat platform is not really what I had in mind. Not a big fan of this rework, but I guess it makes sense through the lore with how close it is to the Colossus. The best way I can describe this town is lore over looks, I guess. I will miss old Canton Beta though. An honorable mention also goes to Alderay Town, which I think just took my favorite town title from M-Sword. The atmosphere and the mood here really conveyed the elven magic theme, borderline uncanny how well it works, and the cherry tree, wish there was a housing balloon over here. A lot of cosmetic changes were also made to the map, with caves and such, rebuilding quest areas, which are all very well made, as well as giving guild arenas more variety. Oh yeah, and they also reworked Canyon of the Lost. Nice. I'm happy to say we were blessed with a lot of quest reworks this update, which means more shit to complete on every next quest. On a more serious note, a lot of the quest reworks we got were really well made, especially I want to highlight Hollow Serenity for its captivating story, and Canary Calls for its impeccable mood and surprisingly fun minecart minigame. I also want to mention Purple and Blue, a very nice rework that I do prefer over the old one. I couldn't really get the footage for this, so I asked my friend Yoshi to get it for me. And here are the highlights of the footage he actually sent me. All the quests were really well made, although we did get some stinkers, such as the new ultimate weapon quest, which was originally a joke on the insane grind some people do for weapons that don't really matter. Now, it's not really that hard to do, which takes away from the grind aspect. The build up to the reward is so lackluster. Mind you, it's not like it wasn't worth to grind that much for 7 LE reward. I think it was perfectly fine to make the people just work for it a little. I mean, it's 7 LE, one of the highest rewards a quest thing can give, but now it's just an easy cash grab, if I can say it like this. Another major stinker we got were the Hunger of Girths, which was released half-baked and not even correct to the lore in the slightest. You see, there's a Gilia secret discovery called Mark of the Meteors, which explains what the Girths are and where they came from. Basically, it explains that Girths are just villagers gone mad and morphed by the 2 meteors that landed on Gilia hundreds of years ago. It shows how much their speech worsened, hunger grew, and memory shortened. Hunger of Girths single-handedly manages to destroy all that world building in a single quest by making Girths speak like normal people, only leaving them with just the shtick that they are hungry as hell. These are not Girths, not at all. And to rub salt in the wound even more, the second part of the quest cuts off quarter into the quest because it was unfinished. My only question is why even release it half-baked? These 2 quests were a major disappointment for me. I really cannot bash this because if they had time to do everything, we wouldn't have to complain about it. But the fact is, it's been out since September and there's still no development on this quest. And I'm recording this on January 20th. Now I want to mention All the Way Part 2. It's not because it's necessarily bad, but because it's rather strange. It's like the Wynn team saw us hating on Laurie so much in the last update that they made up a guy who took the majority of fault for destroying the entire Wynn universe so Laurie could take just only partial blame.
Rasputin, I'm going to show you a picture.
That's her!
It's strange to say the least, but not as bad as I said. It's fun, but it's just strange. I don't know how to explain it. You have to play it for yourself to see this. We also got a couple of new quests too. Breaking Point, it's fun. It's a fun one. Wynn really hit the nail on the head with quests in this update. In general, a lot of quest reworks too give a lot more lore to the game, or rather just explore and demonstrate the existing lore more than before. Like quests such as the Lost, Canary Calls, and even the Canyon Guides, among others, all have a central point. The Colossus is a huge problem for everyone, and we absolutely need to stop it from breaking apart the canyon. Thankfully, these quests do not take up much time of your day. Their length has stayed relatively the same too. With all the new quest reworks we usually get in these updates, sometimes replayability suffers, but this time around the Wynn team really managed to hit the nail, as I said. So the replayability is just fine. The only one I would dread going through again is Hollow Serenity for it being so long, but it's fine. It's fine. All around good job with the quests. Hopefully we will see a fix and a proper ending to Hunger of Girths questline 2, and something that also fits in the lore, maybe. Everyone thought it was forgotten, left behind, but with the new patch, we have received a lot, and I do mean a lot of changes to housing. Almost half of the entire patch notes are about housing, and the rest is about fucking failsafes, holy shit. A lot of quality of life things has been added. It's appreciated to have this many changes added to housing, so, you know, everyone thought it was immediately abandoned, but they decreased the prices, so the barrier of entry for housing isn't sky high anymore. Very good, I finally get to enjoy being creative at a reasonable price. Crafted items also don't degrade here anymore.
This is good shit.
Fucking incredible. I finally don't lose money by standing still on my island. I get to keep my housing open too, so I no longer need to invite friends anymore. And guild housing? Mwah, cherry on top. I'm not gonna list everything because, you know, a lot of things have been changed, added. And as of recording this, the update is still in beta, so a lot of things are subject to change. I don't wanna age this video too much. Generally, very good, outstanding job, guys. Some much needed changes were made here. Combat. I love combat. It's my favorite part of Wynn. The combat changes were the most advertised part of this update for a good reason. The entire combat system was revamped, skills expanded on, and a whole new ability tree system added to classes with 3 different branches for each. I will not even attempt to go into detail and demonstrate synergies, and honestly that's not really my job either, so I'll leave these to the people who actually make builds and carry the whole community. Like people in Blues the Snipers Discord. This is not a paid advertisement, I just use this server a bit too much. I think that server kind of became a crutch for me. I can at least say that they are all well designed and actually play really well. Some even iron out core weaknesses of certain classes. For some combat changes that weren't too positive, for one, they entirely killed poison as a method of primary damage. Apparently this was done to combat the fact that people used to insta-kill people in Hunted. Might as well just have nerfed poison for players and not mobs. Poison was still balanced, in my opinion, cause it's damage that happened over time, and not at once, at will. It had a cap of how much damage it could do at a time, and I don't think 40k or 50k poison ticks were as broken as they made it out to be. Not when a guy like this can kill Greg this fast.
Why is he doing damage with a morph stardust?
Seriously, what the fuck is this? They may have dropped the ball a bit too fast with it, in my opinion, considering there's a whole ass mythic associated with poison, which is now the worst mythic in the entire game.
Oh, that's a lot of money, eh? Can I have some money? Money? What the barnacles? Oh no, me heart stopped! I'm fucking dying!
If anything, poison should have been a more delicate matter, requiring a bit more careful attention rather than practically removing it from the game. Yes, poison was strong. Almost 50k poison ticks with courage was nothing to scoff at in 1.20, but with 2.0, I would argue old poison would have been just balanced compared to the damage output of other classes. I'm sure Hunted people would say a different story, but was there really no way to nerf poison against players instead of nerfing it for everyone? On the upside, they reworked lifesteal and mana steal, and now both perform much better. Too bad these mechanics were mostly used on melee and hybrid builds, which they did not give much options for this update. Every ability tree branching is almost exclusively spell, which is kinda sad. Would have liked a bit more variety between abilities, considering there are lots of melee items in the game like Aftershock and Apocalypse, but hey, maybe in the future. Agility was also nerfed, which the community was distraught over. But it makes sense, honestly. Air was an element that dominated over gameplay and the trade market, of course, so a change like this was bound to happen eventually. As for general gameplay, the drop system was also reworked, and now your items scatter everywhere instead of a neat pile when you kill a mob, which looks aesthetic but is absolutely fucking catastrophic in dungeons, especially in the Lost Sanctuary, where 99% of the time you don't know where your fucking TNT went. Fucking please, I don't want this. Can't we just make it so like core items that are required for progression still drop where the mob died instead of just scattering everywhere, please? The emeralds and anything else can scatter, but not the core items, please, for the love of God, man, fuck. Can you tell that I played a lot of Forgery recently? Thank my friends for that. Stop. Ooh.
Ooh.
We are gonna look fucking deranged when I watch this back in Sony Vegas. One thing I absolutely wanted to mention again, and I seem to be the only one on this topic once more, but for the love of God, please just fix your weapon models. Look, I even did it for you! For you! It's right here. It's so much better. Look at the tier 3 water spear. Boom. Instantly. 10 out of 10. Please, look at the elemental bow. Whoa. It's saturated. Boom. Oh, it's now so much better. Look at the rainbow spear. Boom. Now it's on the old brown we're used to. I know, you even changed Warp's weapon model, but you didn't actually change it. All you did is not rotate it. A lot of people do not know this, but Warp's weapon model is actually the same one we were using ever since Gavel came out. You know how I know this? I put the model in Blockbench, I rotated it like 90 degrees and it was the same fucking model. They just didn't bother to rotate it. Please, I fucking beg you. All I want is to make them look as good as they were. I do not ask for more than this. Please.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
But for now, how could I forget talking about the hot topic of the Wynncraft community in this update? Ability shards. Now, I hope you hear me out, even if you don't agree with my points, because this is a serious matter if you can't tell by the sudden tone shift. Ability shards. I do not know how this item got into the game, much less the mechanic associated with them, considering we already had a system that was very closely meshed with the concept of ability shards. Let me demonstrate this with 3 very simple sentences. Guys, I thought we hated waiting. Guys, I thought we hated using specialized items made for this purpose only to reset progression to 0 and give back all the points in return. Guys, I thought we hated gacha mechanics. Does this sound familiar to you? Well, it should. Ability shards are almost an identical copy of the soul point system, almost down to the T. Look, even the colors are almost identical. The biggest difference is that you need 3 ability shards to reset your ability tree, instead of 2 soul points to reset your skill points. You can hoard stacks of these, which is also one of the roots of this problem. Ability shards are so common and so cheap, they don't even matter and would not even make a single difference to the game if they were removed. And honestly, no one would even complain about it. It's an artificial roadblock that skill points used to have, and you know, we got that one removed. I do not see a difference between abilities and skill points on the mechanical and practical level, to be frank with you. Both enable you to get stronger with each point. They both come from leveling up, and both can only be edited while you're in a town. I really don't see a reason why we should restrict people with another soul point system, which, might I add, even Salted doesn't like and wants to rework. Another roadblock also presents itself with the recovery of the past. This is only really relevant to the new players, because you only need to do the quest once on any class to be able to edit your skill tree on every class afterwards. But this is still kind of a half-assed attempt to restrict people. Most new players don't even make it to level 25 before quitting the game altogether. So this restriction feels kinda dumb in both ways. I can't believe I have to say this, but if you search up ability shards and half of the results on Google are people begging you to remove it and the other half are the wiki websites, I don't think your mechanic holds up as well as you would like to think. It is especially funny to me because I found this one forum post that I thought was defending ability shards, and it was posted 2 days before 2.0 dropped, and my man went through his personal character arc. He started out being completely fine with ability shards, and you could follow his descent into madness as reality set in for him. They edited this thread 2 different times, and each time making it more clear it's not as good of a mechanic as they like to think. It's just wow. How did this make it into the game? It also maybe wouldn't be so awful if half of the daily objectives you tend to get are profession based. Something so unrewarding and unfun, most people just skip doing that daily. Not to mention the trade with newbie daily. Don't even get me started on that one. I firmly believe ability shards are in fact an obstacle between fun, experimentation, and a general enjoyable gameplay loop for everyone. Also, as a side note, it's ability reset shards, and not ability shards. You do not gain an extra ability point with the shards if you use them. It's like calling skill reset scrolls skill scrolls, then wondering why your armor fell off. Time to go back to my persona. Welcome to the Forgery. Welcome to the Forgery. the least viable method of making net worth. Except for my friend Dory, who single-handedly managed to get 3 mythics out of the Forgery chests on their 30 runs. Here, if you complete 8 dungeons, you get a generous 1.5% chance of receiving a mythic. How generous? Need to showcase this really close. Fuck off, you're the onlinest viewer.
Can add like an average or linus 10. You can add like an average or linus 10 viewer on there's a caption down there.
And every fully completed Forgery run nets you a minuscule amount of extra chance to get a mythic next time you complete it. It is not only a disappointment every time, but also it's a grind for us unlucky players.
I actually did not get a mythic.
But hey, that's fine, because there's a new corrupted dungeon, Corrupted Galleon's Graveyard. And let me tell you, it is a treat every time we go in there. And not for the reason you may think. You see, Corrupted Galleon's Graveyard was an addition in the 2.0.1 update, and not an actual addition in the 2.0 release originally, which usually means it wasn't finished by the set deadline. I could 2000% believe this what happened, because this dungeon could not be any more buggy than it already is. Let's see, for one, Blood Melange does not work in here. So technically this dungeon doesn't even count as corrupted.
Yeah, I'm so glad that Blood Melange doesn't work.
Then we have the fact that it really wasn't optimized for multiplayer functionality. If you come here a lot with friends, you may notice that all of you get keys for every room, but they don't disappear after the dungeon ends. I hope you can see where I'm going with this. I'm not even sure if it's supposed to be a feature or it's just a simple oversight with inventory clearing triggers, because every other dungeon clears its items specific to that dungeon after every challenge. But hey, if a group of 4 people come here, you only need to do every challenge every 4 runs, so, you know, it is also convenient. But for something that is for sure a bug, is what I like to call the boat apocalypse. After clearing the first 2 obstacles in the dungeon, you get to the cannon part, which is a nice nod to the original. The problem begins in a seemingly inconspicuous Forgery run, where one of my friends may have held right-click on the cannon even after the cutscene has begun playing.
Did you know that by activating cutscene twice as much enemies spawned?
That's good to know. Now this simple mistake led to a catastrophic chain of events. To put it lightly, entity overload. What if you would just rapid click this? After this marvelous urethra moment, my friend who plays PvP tried to jitter click the cannon.
I'm on 30, let's go.
I do not think I need to explain what happened to him. I really don't think this dungeon was polished, much less quality checked, because a simple mistake like this usually never goes unnoticed. Even the TNT countdown in the boss fight is wrong. Why is it negative? Why does it go into negative value? This dungeon is really buggy, and it's full of bugs. As I said, you know, the fucking fish didn't spawn.
Big fan.
Big fan.
Not to mention the kill requirement, which is 10, but actuality is 8. I really think this dungeon needs a bit more time in the oven, guys. The concept is fun, but it just needs more time. Oh yeah, on the topic of Forgery, they also changed Charon. What the fuck? Talking about single things being changed, Legendary Island was touched by the holy cow. You might expect me to praise the fact they shortened the Yakyabot fight by a considerable margin, and you are correct. I will praise it. Good job. What I will not praise, however, that it's not even the fight with Yakyabot anymore. I don't get why they had to replace a much more recognizable and Chad Yakyabot with a dead beam from 2019. I mean, no offense to people who like the rat, but they just done Yakyabot dirty for no reason. It's so underwhelming with the rat, but at least you can still fight him if you go behind the Legendary Island where he's hiding down there, like Woody after Andy got Buzz in Toy Story.
I don't want to play with you anymore. Bye, Woody.
No, Andy!
And he even gives a mechanical heart. which you can give to Ryakia and he will say 2 unique dialogue options. And after that, the end. Professions. Whoo, yeah! Smooth transition. Anyway, level 80 plus profession areas were revamped to make the grind less grueling, which is a good step in the right direction. They serve their purpose, and honestly, quite a welcome change. Not really much to talk about here. They look nice and are way more efficient to farm them from longer periods of time, so good job. They might not look as aesthetic as they used to be, but it is such a good trade-off for efficiency, so good job. And for the part of the video I know everyone has been waiting for. The Nameless Anomaly has got to be one of the funnest and hardest things you could do on the network right now. It has a good deal of difficulty mixed with lore and power, and you know I worship lore. Rewards are incredible too. It's an actually good way of making money in game, although it needs 3 other people who can cooperate with you and do their job correctly, which is a rare sight in the party finder based society. The only flaws I see in the raid currently that it's more or less invalidates Nexus of Light entirely. Same case with TCC and Grootslang, but at least Grootslang can give every type of dome. Currently Nexus of Light is hard, laggy, and the rewards are easily outclassed by TNA, just a few levels away from it. I kind of want to see a use for Nexus of Light in the future, besides the stepping stone in the raid hierarchy. Also, why does the leader need to pay double compared to everyone? Making the entry fee uneven just leads to people keeping at best one Toro on themselves, so someone else needs to pay. Besides that, TNA is probably Wynncraft at its best. Grind for money, get those fucking necklaces, and have fun grinding, guys. Now that we reached the end of the update review, all I have to say, honestly, good job, guys. This update really was something the game sorely lacked. Variety. At least we can all collectively agree no one came out of this update worse than Toxo users. Thank you for watching and see you in Fruma. Also, can I have 20 disguise bombs please? I really need them. I need my collectibles.